Today we have with us in studios Mr. Sajitha Dimel, the winner of Young Marketer of the Year 2015. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Anjali, for having me here today.
This award ceremony was hosted by the World Marketing Congress in Mumbai on the 27th of November, and also Mr. Sajitha was the first to win the category award launched. This award is basically given to all individuals who are below the age of 35 and who has outstanding marketing skills. And also, Mr. Sajitha Dimel is the Manager of Growth and Innovations at Expo Lanka Freight Private Limited. So, Mr. Sajitha Dimel, to start up with the conversation, would like to ask, what is freight industry and what are the activities that you've been enrolled with?
Okay. Talking about this freight industry, Anjali, I would like to give a little briefing about the history, how this freight industry started. Actually, this is all about the logistics. What we are talking is about logistics. And during the time of the World War, we had to deliver the medicines and the food on time because our industry is a global industry and it's a timely industry what we are engaged in. And we have to look at the, we are actually looking into saving lives of people. So if we don't deliver on timely manner the food and the medicines, people will die. So our industry is, so our activities are going to be managing the supply chain. And most of the people those days, we called ourselves as freight forwarders. The reason why we called ourselves freight forwarders was we had the contract rates with the freight, the shipping lines, and we gave them the contracted rates. We got the contracted rates from the shipping lines and we offered the same to the customers. So we had the best rates to offer the customers and we used to do their freight. So that's why we call ourselves as freight forwarders. But now the industry is changing. So we have to look into the logistics part of it and also the supply chain management. So when it comes to the supply chain management, from the shipper or the manufacturer, what we call it, the manufacturer, from that point until we deliver it to the consignee or the receiver, we call. So the process, there's a huge process. So the shipper is the person who exports and the consignee is the person who receives it. So during the time of that, the process, we have to manage it. So that's what we do, managing the entire process or the supply chain. Because shipper or the supplier, the shipper can be different, but the manufacturer can be different. So, so we have to basically manage everything. And this is a global industry. And our industry is a derived market. We do have a derived market. That is, the derived market means, Anjali, if the imports and exports are happening, that means we are getting the businesses. If there is no imports and exports means we don't get sufficient jobs.
And I believe that this trade can impact the country as well as the globe. So what kind of impact does this have to our country?
Well, very much, because as I told before, trading is very important for a country to sustain. So with the global market, from the time of 70s, we got the opportunity to go to the world market. So we got the opportunity to take our products globally. And also we got the opportunity to bring down products like the imports. So because of that reason, this became a global market. So we are talking about the global market, and Sri Lanka has the better opportunity in marketing our products. The reason is we are an island. Though we are an island, we have the way our country situated. It's very easy for all the shipping lines to move very fast and efficiently. So our country can be a greater hub when you compare, because from the place where we are, we can easily go to the global market. So that's definitely helpful for our Sri Lankan, as Sri Lankan, that will be definitely helpful.
Also, when talking about the impact again, there are so many impacts. It would be socially, economically, and politically. So, with all your experience, how do you face them, and what do you take? What are the actions or the steps that you take when you face maybe socially, economically, and politically overall?
Well, talking about the first, we'll talk about the politically, because uh, as I told, the government contracts or the government agreements, trade lane agreements are very important, because with another country, if we can create the link between Sri Lanka and another country and the trade lane agreements. So most of the chambers of our country also, they try to do these agreements, and they are going to help us. And so the politically, it's very important that we have contract with the other countries. So we are from Sri Lanka, we are exporting goods to their country, and from those countries, we are bringing down goods back to Sri Lanka. And also, we are making harmony with those countries. Like we try to create the global market with that. So that is about the political side. And when it comes to the social side, I would say now the trend is different, because as we know, we are into transportation segment. So transport means a lot of carbon emissions are happening. So now the global is changing. So we are actually thinking for the green environment. Now we talk about the green environment. And because of that reason, we are talking about the green logistics. So for that, actually, we work closely with many organizations, and we try to reduce, starting from the papers. Because those days, for our industry, we used to have a lot of papers involvement, because our industry needs a lot of documentations. But nowadays, with this new technology, we are trying to reduce the papers. So we try to use all the new technologies and try to see how best we can help the society, because it's going to be our duty. And the other hand, the social impact, the number of jobs what we can create it, because this industry is booming. Those days, people, they did not have any idea what this logistics all about. They didn't, because our industry is something that people, we talk less, work more. And now people get to know this industry because of this internet support, because of this internet and the eBay. So people bring down stuff. So they need to know when their goods will be coming down to Sri Lanka. So, so there are a lot of job opportunities are happening due to that reason. Because of that, logistics is booming. So a lot of job opportunities are there with our industry. And economically, definitely it will be very valuable. Our trade is very valuable, because we have to always try and implement new systems to help our exporters as well the importers. So we basically try to help our customers, and our market is something that we have to understand our customers before they understand themselves. So the more we implement new systems, certainly we have the opportunity to help the customers, as well the shipper as well the consignee. Both parties, we can help them out, and we can see that with the new technology we can reduce the cost of activities, we can reduce the cost of the process, and we can create the KPIs, that is the key process indicators. So in this process, we are trying to reduce the number of activities that we are doing for unnecessary things. We are going to reduce it, and we are trying to see what best we can do to this industry.
So, as an expert on this topic, do you think you could compete with the global market? Or already are you competing with the global market?
Actually, yeah, we have to compete with the global market, because our industry is something that we, as I told, that we are a global industry, and we are into global industry, and we really need to compete with the global market. So how best our products can be created is very important. Now we have another process called Global Distribution Center. This is something new. The reason why we have created this product is because we believe Sri Lanka is a hub, and we believe there are a lot of opportunities that we can, with this hub we can create a lot of opportunities, and we can get many other countries to bring, like what we are doing right now. We bring the goods. For an example, we are bringing goods from Bangladesh and redo the process here in Sri Lanka. Maybe the packing, maybe the value additions, and then we send these goods back to Europe or USA or whatever the country is required these goods. So all the value additions are happening in Sri Lanka. So this to do those things, we have to be globally competitive enough. If we are not competitive, we will not be able to do that. So it's very important. Our industry is also one thing. The human cost, the people, they are very costly. The labor cost is very. We have to consider that, because nowadays the labor charges are high. So because of that reason, some of the countries, they can't compete. So therefore they go for developing countries. So we are in a market that we can really get those customers into Sri Lanka, and the BPO operations are happening now. The business process outsourcing systems are happening. So we can get those businesses down to Sri Lanka. So all the logistics, we can handle it here, thinking Sri Lanka as a hub and redistribute it. So that's a global industry, and we are actually into that now.
All right. So when talking about the award that you won as the winner of the Young Marketer of 2015, well, can we have a small introduction about your award that you've won?
Yeah, actually, I won this for Young Market of the Award, and it was held in Mumbai, as you previously you gave the introduction. More than this award, actually, what I want to tell you, Anjali, this award was recognized me as a young marketer in the world at the World Marketing Congress, and at the Global Excellence Awards, they honored me as with this award. More than this award, I'm happy to be the first Sri Lankan to win this, because in this category under 35, I'm the first Sri Lankan to receive this award. And by doing that, I created the opportunity for other Sri Lankans to win in the years to come. And I'm happy that I laid the stepping stone for the other Sri Lankans to do well, because I don't think that I'm the best to win this. But what I think is, I was dedicated enough to win this. So that passion drives me to win this. So I'm happy. Once we won this award, I was very happy. But now I'm very happy to give this award to the Sri Lankans to take forward.
So as the owner of this award, what are the major points that you gain to win this? Because there are so much of youth with us on this show, so they would prefer to know. They would need an advice where what you did to gain this.
In the year 2010, Anjali, I won the 10 Outstanding Young Persons Award in Sri Lanka. For that, I won it in the Humanitarian and Voluntary Services. After winning this award, I was thinking for myself, do I want to call myself a humanitarian and voluntary service person, or do I need to be a professional? So even for this TOYP, I tried many times. It was my 4th attempt, only I won. So after winning that, I thought I should do something into the industry. I should do something well in this industry. Then I tried to apply for the Young International Freight Forward of the Year's Award. I was nominated to represent Sri Lanka in the year 2013. And I'm happy that I'm the first Sri Lankan to nominate for that award, held in UK. And then in the year 2014, I won the Young Outstanding Young Achievers Award held in Singapore, and then recently with this award. More than winning an award, what I want to tell, the commitment. When you see this award, you see the front layer is very nice, the beautiful, right? But you don't see the behind of this award is the dedication, the hard work. And the middle of this award is the experience what you gain. So the more you work, the more you do well, definitely you'll be a better person. For me, more than winning an award, for me, what I really think is that experience what we gain. If we get more experience, then we are better. We can be better. Always, for me, I don't challenge the others. I challenge myself. Personally, I challenge myself thinking, why can't I do this? Why not I'm doing this? So every time I try my best, there will be a day that you will be successful. But it doesn't mean that you need to win an award. Every time you work hard, you can be a different person. Most of the Sri Lankan youth, they are scared thinking, okay, they can't speak in English, or they are scared, they are not good in their language skills. So they are scared that they can't go to the globe, which is the wrong attitude. When you see Japan, China, France, and the other countries, they don't speak in English, but what they do is they speak their own language. So language is something that you need to know to communicate with the others. So Anjali, after winning this award, what I want to encourage the Sri Lankan youth, if you're really committed, if you really work hard yourself, certainly you can do that. To do that, you need to have a passion. You really need to have a passion to go for it. If you don't have a passion, you should create one for you. So, and you should know what's your vision is all about. What do you want people to call yourself? So that's what I was thinking for myself. What legacy I want to leave this world. So it's very important to understand what you exactly want. So work hard for it. It's not easy.
And you said that you challenge yourself.
Yeah.
So obviously the youth is waiting here to know what you gain challenging yourself, because most of the time our youth challenge maybe friends, maybe the other competitor. They just think about winning for themselves, but they never think about challenging themselves and see what I could do. So can you just leave a message on saying what you have gained challenging your own self? Have you lost? Have you always won? Because losing once, our youth give up. So what have you got to say on that?
Well, I don't think that I won all the time. I think I'm a loser. I lost a lot of times. So the more I lose, more that I give my best. So every time I lose, I think, okay, winning is not the game. The game plan is the game. How you manage yourself. So how are you going to win this? What activities that you need to do, what areas that you need to improve is very important, because most of the people, they think it's easy task, and when they fail they feel okay, they have to give up. No, that's the beginning. That's where you need to challenge yourself. When you challenge yourself, you will know what areas you need to improve yourself. So as I told, maybe languages, maybe your other skills, professional skills. So maybe whatever the areas, maybe sometimes you might need to know you might need to get some professional studies done. So I still do remember when as I told, this Young Freight Forward of the Year's award, when I was nominated, I applied in year 2012, but I was rejected. I was rejected once again. And the reason, though I had some qualifications in freight forwarding and shipping industry, they wanted me to have another qualification from the SLAFA. So they asked me to get one more qualification to be eligible for that award. Then what happened? I did two. So I challenged myself. I didn't want to do one and get myself nominated. I wanted to do two. Then I got myself nominated for that award in the year 2013. So you have to challenge yourself, as I told, not to win, but to be improved yourself.
So, as a young entrepreneur, we could call yourself an entrepreneur. Uh, have you ever had a role model in your life?
Yeah, of course. Um, let me tell you, most of the people call themselves as entrepreneurs. But before this entrepreneur subject came into place, it was businessman. We call it as businessman, and then it changed, it evolved as entrepreneurs. And most of the people think it's an easy task, but it is not. Starting up a company and making that company to a successful one is not easy. So therefore, you need to study some role models, you need to understand their behaviors, you need to know certain people. So for me also, I do have role models, and starting from my family, because my parents, my in-laws and my wife, they are my role models, and they are actually my mentors, starting with that. And other than them, into this business world, yes, of course, my boss, Mr. Hanif Yusuf, he's one of the role models I actually following. And in this industry, he started very small, and he has gone to the high level as possible, and people know in this industry. The most important thing is he's a great human being. Because if you ask, he has given 800 odd jobs for only for our freight cluster. And if you ask 800 people about him, everyone talks good about him. That is not easy, Anjali, because in this world, getting that reputation from the others are not easy. So I'm very happy that to see everyone in this industry talks good about him, and not only the employees, also the people, his competitors. His competitors also talks good about him, and that is a caliber that I am actually thinking of having myself. It's not easy for me to go to that level. I know, I'm sure it's not easy, but I really wanted to reach somewhere at least. So I wanted to change myself, a lot of things I have to do. So yes, of course, they are my role models.
All right. So to come along this path, obviously you might have had a very tough beginning. So indeed, if you tell about the experiences that you faced, difficulties, and what you have gained to come to this stage, because as I said, our youth is into the decision that if I lose, I'm done with it. So all what I want to get here is something to motivate them.
Okay. Well, talk about this, how I became a marketer. I think if I think backwards to my school days, when I was in grade 2, I used to make some badges, and I used to sell it to my friend, and he was a good customer for me. And no credit, on time payment. I used to sell it for 2 rupees until he was get caught to his mom, and she complained to the teacher saying, Sajid is doing something like this, and teacher asked me not to do. But that was a good beginning for me, I believe, in this marketing industry. I realized there is a potential for me in doing something. And when I started my career as a sales executive or a sales agent at that time, it was not easy, and the technology was not there, and the resources, we did not have that sufficient resources, not like today's world. And but that gives us some encouragement to push ourselves to the next level. And from that, each step what I climbed, I really understood what I really want in my life and how I can be a better marketer. So when it comes to the marketing, most of the people think marketing is something to do with sales. No, it is not, Anjali, because marketing is something more than that, and it has research and development. Sales is part of it only, and research and development, branding, intelligence. So understanding the customers, understanding the consumers are very important. That intelligence is very important. So sometimes some people, when they do marketing projects, sometimes that product might not be sustained or it will not successful in the market. It can be failed. But that learning is very important. Every time you can't win, but every time you will not fail also. Because with that experience, you definitely you work hard.
So, as an expertiser on business and the business field, what have you got to say to our youth?
Well, Anjali, that is very important question, I believe, because becoming an entrepreneur is not easy. As I told before, it has you should have a passion for it and big dedication. Some people think becoming an entrepreneur because they love to have it in their cards, right? The designations and those things, because that's the trend of the youngsters. They like to call themselves as directors and all. But do they really understand this business? That is very important. Sometimes they don't understand the business well, and it takes a lot of time to understand it, and it's very difficult because I'm sure if they are a good entrepreneurs, they have spent a lot of time in doing research and developments, because without research and developments they will not be successful. And becoming an entrepreneur is a very challenging thing. It's very challenging because giving job opportunities is going to be very challenging. It's not easy. And sometimes you have to take risk. You have to calculate your risk. Today your business is good, but tomorrow what can happen to it? So if something goes wrong, or if you find a new method, new way to reach your customers, that is very important. That is the innovation what we wanted to talk about. Even in our industry, we have to think of these areas, the innovation areas, because we always use the same mode of transport. When it comes to the transportation, we take it by air or sea or rail or by pipes. Pipe is the other method of taking doing transportation for oil and other food stuff. So we use all these areas or all these methods on the road transportation. So we have to think, how can we develop this? How can we innovate new areas? Because in Sri Lanka there's a huge potential in this market, and but if you see, because of this road transportation, lot of traffic. Even if you are trying to come to some place, you will not be able to reach there on time. So we as marketeers, we have to understand this business well, and we have to introduce new products. Probably we can do by rail. There are opportunities to do by rail as well. So we have to understand these products, these areas of scope of areas. And nowadays we carry containers by road. Maybe the container, where the containers are right now, probably we can change the way of the container, because it needs sufficient space. Sometimes empty containers goes on, but there is for that you need big vehicles. So maybe sometimes we can change that way and make it smaller, or the container, how best we can change it can help the society. So these are the things that we have to really think of as marketeers.
And basically the young crowd, they are not financially grown up to start up businesses. So many have doubts. How can I start up a business without money? How can I do that without money? So maybe you could be a good example for them.
Well, I would say not me, but there are very good examples in this country. If you see Navaloka Mudalali, starting from them, even Mr. Hanif, my boss, when they started, they had nothing. They had nothing. And they were not scared to lose what they have also. They believed themselves. They wanted to do something good for the society. They want to serve the society. So the biggest thing is, how many people can you serve? It's not all about money, right? How many people can you serve? The more people you serve, the more money will flow into you. So it is all about serving, because if you are an entrepreneur, your concept or your design or your market should be how to support the customer, how to make sure the customer gets the best, how to make sure the customer gets for the lowest as possible, the cost wise, the product quality wise, how best he can get. So to start up a company, probably you might not need a lot of money. Probably one or two contacts can help you, right? To start an office, probably you may not have money, but if you may know a person who has an office, maybe you can join with them, maybe you can talk to them and see the opportunities. Because to become an entrepreneur, you don't need to have a big office. You just need to use your intelligence. It's very important. And your network, because getting to know a lot of people is very important. In whatever the business it is, you need to know a lot of people as possible.
Okay, before we conclude today's show, would like to gain a small advice where our youth could keep in their mind and follow as in?
I would say work hard and have a great passion, and you should have a dare to do spirit.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Sajitha, for joining us with the show today. And I hope our youth had so much of answers for your questions in life to gain yourself for a better future. And all right, Mr. Sajitha, thank you so much for joining us with today's show.
Thank you, Anjali, for having me. Thank you.
We believe that all our young crew who is willing to be an entrepreneur, maybe a business owner, has fulfilled most of their questions with Mr. Sajitha Dimal. So thank you so much for joining with us today's show. Have a good day.